So the logo's nearly there. Are you happy with the way it's going?
Yeah, I quite like the look of it at the moment. It's looking good. I think we need to look at how the type moves around a bit more with it.
How it sort of creates this block.
Yeah, and how there's a bit more space defined in it.
But I think what I really like about it is it's a very distinctive logo type. So it does what we wanted it to do, which creates a strong mark. And you've also got this symbol which can work with it, or can just be used as a sort of a signifier for state of mind when using it on apparel and stuff like that. So it's not as obvious as kind of here's the branding. It's just a more subtle mark. So I suppose the next thing really you're starting to look at in terms of brand development will be the typeface, what's going to work with it.
Yeah, I think we need to look for something that's a bit quite friendly. That idea that we had about something being more geometric, just to contrast against that type we've already made and the logo mark as well.
I think, yeah, it's a very bold mark now, and I think if we use something that's got too much character in terms of the typeface, it's going to look like it's all trying a bit hard. I agree. You want something neutral, something a bit warm, something not geometric, something that's a bit of a humanist kind of thing. So, a Helvetica, but not Helvetica. The kind of issue we always find ourselves with, really.
Yeah, something that's still friendly though. But it's still got, looking for friendly A's and the L's as well.
Yeah, like a bit of softness to it. And in terms of colour, you just started the process of that as well. So obviously, bold, vibrant schemes, keeping it very young, fresh. All the cliches we usually come out with. So you just kind of started the process of that, haven't you? And this is where you're sort of leaning at the moment.
Yeah,
poppy.
I think we need to stay away from something that's too, as you're saying, too poppy, and something that still feels quite cool. Maybe built around one bright, and then a grey next to it. I think that's the way we're going out of that selection.
Yeah, something to support it, so they're not all competing.
Yeah, we don't want it to look too crazy and too youthful. Still got to appeal to the other partners.
Yeah, I think the other thing is because Gareth's got these sort of facts and figures that are going to be leading into stuff as well, and I see the messaging being quite positive and constructive, and obviously he's got these negative, so many kids unemployed, trying to find work and stuff like that, and I think if we can almost use those to set up our response, so those state of mind kind of responds to that by being sort of bold and bright and energetic, it's giving us some sort of answer. It's not saying, this is the answer to it all, but we are doing something. It is a response, which kind of leads into what you've been doing with the illustration a bit as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's from the original mock we did. Just trying to play through some of the ideas that we were working with. Really trying to use the photography, but not in a one big image to sell the whole message. Use it working with graphic elements. And also the big thing was trying to build some space and depth through it as well. So it wasn't just a flat photographic image. There's also that sense of a shift in perspectives or odd perspectives.
Yeah, it's like that sort of mix of real and unreal, isn't it? So it's kind of, you're putting yourself in it, but you've got this kind of mad stuff going on around it as well. So it becomes this interesting mix. And it gives you, on these mock-ups, obviously shows how easy it was to work with the Shutterstock stuff as well, just to kind of quickly build an image without having to kind of craft everything. Just and then you've sort of developed it a bit further with your own stuff as well.
Yeah, but what I quite like is, even going back to this one, is the idea that we've been talking about, how we keep this realness of the background colour and texture that's actually in the image, rather than just a straight cutout.
Yeah. places it.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a key part of what we're trying to do with the overall imagery and the photography, is to retain that.
So this is probably the closest to where you'll be, isn't it? I think with the branding interacting as well with the sort of the symbols and shapes.
I think so, yeah, and especially the idea of this movement and keeping it quite dynamic, and not being so absolutely set in it being a set as such, and just so it's much more fluid, much more flexible.
These are less rooted, aren't they, than these? I mean, these feel quite a bit more static, whereas these are kind of got movement and they're floating a bit, aren't they? Which is what we wanted, isn't it? That sense of sort of movement, of rising.
Yeah, and especially playing with the sense of depth and space with the scale, how things may be paced back inside, and even interact with the surface. So, you know, the graphic elements sit on top of